Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the monthly Conexxus webinar series. Today, we're going to talk about how to elevate your business through digital transformation. And our subject matter expert today is Dean Merrier, who is the Customer Solutions Director at Cybera. Our agenda today, I'll go through a couple of housekeeping items. I'll give you a little bit more background on Dean, a little bit about Conexxus. We'll go through the presentation, and then we'll have questions and answers at the end. Just a quick reminder that the webinar is being recorded and will be made available in approximately 7 days. You can find the webinar on YouTube. If you subscribe to the Conexxus channel, you'll automatically get it, or you can go to Conexxus Online, or go to the actual conexxus.org website, and it's under Resources and Webinars. You will be furnished with a copy of the slide deck via a survey link. And so about an hour after the webinar today, you will receive an email to complete a very short survey. I promise it's only a few questions. And if you complete the survey, then about another hour or so after that, you will be sent a link with the presentation. As a participant, you are in listen-only mode, and so we do ask that your questions be via the webinar interface. There's a little question section in the panel. You just click on that and type your question in there. Please no vendor-specific questions, and if you need PCI continuing ed credits, please contact A. Russell at conexxus.org for questions. And if you do have any overall comments or questions, please email Conexxus at info@conexxus.org. Our host today is Miss Allie Russell, and so we appreciate all of the help and the coordination that she's done to make today's webinar possible. My name is Cara Gunderson. I am the Point of Sale Manager at Citgo Petroleum, and I'm your moderator today. And with us, we're very happy to have Dean Merrier. He is a results-oriented director who excels at transforming complex technology initiatives into meaningful business outcomes. Dean combines deep technical expertise with diverse petroleum experience to solving broad customer challenges across retail systems and forecourt solutions, mobile payments, digital experiences, cloud adoptions, and IoT, or the Internet of Things. He has over 15 years of experience in petroleum and technology consulting and program management. Dean has been recognized for building consensus amongst many organizations, delivering a common goal. He's successfully established new compliance programs for startups. He's created new digital experiences for industry solutions. He's led market initiatives that resulted in companies creating delivery roadmaps and transformation of programs at some of the petroleum's world's most recognized brands. If you don't find Dean at work, you can find him on the golf course perfecting his retirement plan. And I would like to note that Dean is also one of our very active volunteers within Conexxus, and he is a subject matter expert on our security assurance working group, which is a subject matter expert group to give guidance on standards and use cases for Conexxus on data security and compliance. Conexxus is an independent nonprofit member technology organization. They have very few staff members and are really, really driven and by all of the volunteers. So as I mentioned, Dean's a volunteer, I'm a volunteer, and so it's really, really, really led by the volunteers. They set standards for data exchange, security, mobile commerce. They also provide vision by identifying emerging technologies and trends. And they're really an advocate for our industry. And especially when it relates to technology, they're very active in other industry groups as well, talking about compliance and EMV and other standards bodies as well. So Conexxus is really a great voice for all of us in the U.S. payments space and petroleum. Here's our 2020 Conexxus webinar schedule. And in February, we're going back and forth between a SageNet webinar or talking about the new Conexxus APIs that they're working on. In March, we'll have data security beyond the PCI, which is securing the enterprise. In April, we will have a joint MNSP webinar on the actual POS managed network service programs. May, we'll be talking about penetration testing, not only for your compliance, but also just data security best practices. In June, we'll gather our POS vendors to talk about vulnerability and patch management in your retail operations. And then in July, Troy Leach from the PCI Security Standards Council will be talking about the forthcoming PCI DSS 4.0. It's not released yet, but he'll be talking about some of the potential changes that are yet to come. Would like to invite everybody to join us at the 2020 Conexxus Annual Conference. It's April 26th through the 30th in Tucson. And we really want to thank our 2019 annual Diamond sponsors, of which Cybera is not only our speaker and presenter today, but one of the Diamond sponsors for the Conexxus Annual Conference. So thank you, Cybera, and all of the other sponsors for making that possible. Now I'd like to turn this over to Dean. Dean, thanks for joining us today and sharing all of your great information.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Cara, and I appreciate that. You always do such a good job at it. So it's tough to follow you. So
I think
thanks
it'd be
everyone
just
else.
Fine.
Yeah, no, it should be good. Thanks everyone else for joining today, and I appreciate your time right off the bat. Just it's good to be able to have this opportunity to talk to you more about digital transformation. With that, I'm going to start with why digital transformation now. You know, everybody needs to have digital transformation in their roadmap, whether you're a large marketer or a small business. It's really necessary, but you may not think it's urgent, right? Maybe your sales are strong right now. Maybe your customers are happy, your employees are productive, and now it doesn't seem like the time, right, to embark on a resource intensive project that will shake up your operations. So it just seems like a cloud of fog, right? But there are a few reasons to embrace the digital future sooner rather than later. Engage employees, right? So that's a big deal. When we talk about digital transformation, we talk about how it impacts your business, but it also helps your employees engage with one another. Increased profits, we'll cover that a little bit more in the presentation. Greater resilience. And probably the most important is avoiding the competency trap where you're just kind of stuck in the rut, right? So moving on. What is digital transformation, right? So when we talk about digital transformation, Digital transformation really refers to the adoption of digital processes and tools to achieve strategic business goals. It's a complex, multifaceted process that represents a massive cultural shift in the workplace and changes that affect every part of an organization, including your customers, right? So digital transformation really is the adoption of new technologies also that solve key problems and make your business more competitive. However, it's important to understand that digital transformation represents an ongoing evolution of technology rather than a one-time event that happens overnight. Sorry. What are the key business benefits? Well, digital transformation, it's changed it's transformed really how we shop, how we listen to music, how we ingest the news, and even how we make dental appointments, right? But what does it mean for your business, especially petroleum, right? How do you take that big abstract concept and turn it into actions and strategies that will benefit your employees as well as your current customers and new customers, right? So it also helps you adapt. The benefits also help you adapt faster to the latest industry trends, right? We're looking to attract a younger audience, right? Millennials, baby boomers are kind of coming out, the millennials are coming in, right? They want more connectivity at the sites. They want to be able to engage. They want to be able to be part of your loyalty programs and your mobile applications, whatever they may be in your digital strategy, right? The young buyers want that connection with you. They want to feel like a very personal experience. So the benefits, though, it helps you really just, if you start with your digital strategy, the benefits are that you're going to start to see increased foot traffic with the younger generations, and you're also going to be able to provide better analytics and data for your own benefit, right, as a company. What are the factors and trends that are driving this transformation? Well, it's really, it looks different at every company, right? But sometimes it's collaboration drives it. A lot of it's cultural, right? So again, talking about the younger generations, we are a mixed world today, right? So there's a lot of different needs, a lot of cloud-based technologies, right, that are available today that weren't there before. Mobile, it's a big part, right? Whether it's loyalty programs, payments, just awareness. There's a lot of stuff about innovation, right? A lot of innovation that's come around lately. The digital businesses, they're always experimenting and then learning from outcomes, right, through innovation. So, and it's continuous. We know it's data-driven. We know it's customer-centric. Those are all the trends that are driving digital transformation. So, streamlining communications, right, to help everyone find what they need is really what digital transformation really is about, right? It's about making things simpler for your consumer and also for your employees and for your business. It sounds complex to go out and have to install or do something different or add new technologies that may be expensive or maybe cost prohibitive at first glance. But if you look at what it's doing, it's actually engaging your customers and allowing them to understand what you really do for your customers. Right, so if you look at this slide here, I mean, what you'll notice that it's not really about what your company does, it's about how you do things, and that's what's really important in digital transformation. It's not so much, using the example of Apple, right? Everybody likes to use that example, right? Everybody knows they make a phone, but it's how they make the phone and the services that are available on the phone and the experience that you get when you pick up that phone. And I'm just using Apple because it's the bear in the room, right? But it could be your Galaxy, it could be your fuel dispenser media, it could be your electronic cash register, it could be the media screens, right, at the register or hanging on the back wall that inform your customers about what's going on. And the way you place these items and where you put them in the store, don't be fooled, it's important. And when you're going through your strategic sessions to decide what your digital strategy is going to be, those are the kind of things you need to be thinking about. Not just what the equipment is or what the service is, but the placement. So how do you attract your customer? How do you leverage that digital asset to the best of its ability and get some ROI on it? Okay, come on, there we go. You guys see that kiosks are popping up everywhere. Kiosks are really important. At my company, we've also recently underwent a project where we are supporting the digital lockers that are out there now. The Amazon lockers, Apex lockers. There's a bunch of different ones, right? And so we went through a project where we helped the business put in the lockers, and then we provided network connectivity for them, secure network connectivity, so that they have compliance, et cetera. But it also helps them get into the digital age with lockers. And what those lockers are doing, I'm sure most on the call may be familiar, but it's helping bring in foot traffic, right? And so when you bring in that foot traffic, though, what do you do with them, right? Do you just want them to come in and get the locker and then leave? Or do you want them to come in and see something on a screen or have a pop-up on their phone or some kind of messaging that provides engagement so that they stay and they decide to purchase a cup of coffee, right? Again, mobile strategy. They come in for the kiosk, they're in the store, send them a pop, right? Let them know that there's a coffee that's $1.29 today. So maybe they weren't thinking of the coffee, but now they are. So that's what really digital transformation looks like, right? Rising consumer expectations. What's at stake for your business, right? These new offerings and features are not just convenience for the customers, but they're becoming expectations. And meeting expectations and needs is important as ever in this competitive environment, right? So customers expect the in and out convenience, but more and more expecting the new vision of retail space. I mean, most of the operators out there are building the bigger stores, right? And they're adding spots to sit. What do you do with the customer while they sit there? How do you engage with your customer while they sit there? Does it matter to you? I mean, maybe just getting them in and having a spot for them to sit is all you need with some guest Wi-Fi. That could be it. And maybe that's your digital strategy. But there's much more that the consumers want. So take the time to really think about it. Think about what their expectations are when they walk into your store. They want clean bathrooms, sure. They want to be able to see the store and understand where they go for the drinks. But how do you engage them? Do you have a media board or some type of lights above the Coke cooler, right, that show them where to go and how to get there efficiently, and then have them walk through the store, maybe to go back through the chip aisle to pick up chips on the way? That's the kind of stuff you can do with digital, marketing and advertisements that you may not be able to do with your employees sitting behind the counter, right? All right, what do customers want? Well, we know they want multiple payment options. I'm going to read from the slide on this one, everyone. So 64% of the millennials prefer self-service kiosk solutions, right? Today, you see it in the grocery stores. They walk into the grocery store, they're able to walk up to their own register and check themselves out. They want that same type of experience in the C-store. Self-pay reduces customer waits by 30%, right? Now we're not waiting on everybody to figure out what they're going to pay with, right? They have their own register, they walk up. It may take some time for them to figure it out at first, but once they get on board and they understand how your system works, they become very fluid very fast. Brands are reporting 30% higher average transactions, right? So we know that the foot traffic is getting there and it's getting through there faster with self-checkout. US POS vendors have already risen to the occasion and are now offering self-checkout. Many of the self-checkout offerings are included with outdoor EMV software. So in the petroleum space, right, we've gone through this recent change where we've had indoor EMV and now we're shifting to the outdoor EMV needs. And with that means the POS vendors have to create new software. And since they're creating new software, those software are able to come with some of these new features around kiosks, media advertising, etc. So just, retailers should check with their POS vendors to see what capabilities are included in the new software releases, right? To see how it supports their digital strategies. And also, they want fresh food kiosks because they enhance the brand awareness by 48%, right? So if you guys are doing your own deli programs, right, and you have a kiosk that allow them to kind of pick up something on the way through, Walmart's a big proponent of that, right? At their self kiosks, if you go into a Walmart, they have chicken sandwiches, chicken dinners, whole chickens right there at the hot counter right before you walk out. So it's enticing, right? Impulse buying, right? It kind of helps with that process. Obviously, comfortable seating keeps customers in your store longer. We talked about that. When they're in the store longer, what do you want them to do? Just hang out there and loiter, or do you want them to maybe make more decisions? Maybe how about leave reviews on Google about your store, right? Or Facebook, right? If there's interactive tools, you give them those capabilities and they will do it. But if they're not there, it's just out of sight, out of mind. Free Wi-Fi, right? Wi-Fi is a big thing that's happening right now, and it helps with the omni-channel experience, right? Keep in mind though, if you guys are going to do Wi-Fi, that it's a merchant's PCI DSS compliance requires monitoring of Wi-Fi, so like rogue detection, etc. My company helps with stuff like that, right? So order and delivery to the pump provides convenience, right? So think of that. You get to go out, you order something while you're at the pump on the media screen. While they're pumping their gas, that item is being made or packaged and be ready for them to come in and pick up, right? So most customers think, oh, I'm just getting gas, I don't want to stop. But now you've put something on the board that allows them to make a decision and change their buying habits, right? Through digital transformation, right? That's exactly what you're trying to do in these, with your strategies. You're trying to change the buyer's behavior and also collect analytics and data to help you understand how to do that. So, how can you act on these new trends and opportunities? All right. Go from the C-store to the smart store. Utilize new technologies to meet expanded expectations and act on opportunities, right? Utilize new technologies to meet expanded expectations and act on opportunities. Looks like it's a reprint. Sorry. Leverage digital signage for more effective dynamic advertising. I've been covering that through this entire webinar, right? It's how do you engage? What do you need to get? It's not a one-size-fits-all approach, right? You really need to sit down and strategically think about how you want to engage your customer. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Not everybody is going to win. It's not a winning event. It's really what you want to do to make your customers feel at home when they're in your stores or shops. right?
So Dean, what you're saying is basically look at the strengths that you have, like maybe take a step back, look at the strengths that you have and the things that you offer versus that gives you the competitive advantage over your other customers, and look at how you can enhance those and build upon those and make that digital transformation. I like what you said earlier too about the fact that you can make sure that if you're going to place some signage, some digital signage, make sure that they can see it. You know,
Thank you, Cara. Yeah,
so,
it's important.
Okay.
It really is important to think about. It's not just the big bang. Don't go buy a media screen or a new system, for example, a loyalty program or something, unless you really know that what you're going to do with those programs. You don't need to run out and change what you're doing today for the purpose of change. You need to stop, consider your alternatives to what you're doing today and how they might help grow your business and your brand. And this applies to the single site guy or the guy with 1,000 stores or the guy with 5,000 stores, right? It's the same for everybody. And so, you know, there's an advantage that you get as a marketer with your own location by personalizing the experience instead of trying to be like everybody else. There is, right? People want that. They want that experience to be something for them and not the same everywhere I go. If it's the same everywhere I go, I'll just go the same, you know, everywhere. But if you cater something specifically to me, or you do your demographics in your market, you know who your customers are, and you try to figure out the best way to market to them, they'll feel that you're actually considering their behavior, their thoughts, and sometimes even their pocketbook, right? So that's what they're looking for. And how do you enable that change for them without confusing them, right? So getting to some of the technical needs, right? So when we look at all these devices and what they entail, you're going to have a lot more network options. So you want to look at, you know, providers, or if you do your own, you want to look at equipment that supports multiple connections. You want to make sure that you're within PCI compliance, right? Because that's real important in our industry, right? So you want to make sure that what you do install is safe and secure, and you know, vet your prospective third parties that you're buying from, if you can. If you're a little smaller and you don't have the time to do that, or the finances to do some of those things, you know, make sure that you're protected by your providers that you already have, and lean on them a little bit for some help and information. Sometimes we're a good wealth of security knowledge, networking knowledge, industry knowledge, etc., that you may not be able to get by asking a third party who's maybe new into the market, right? So consider that. Increased bandwidth though, right? We know that if you're doing HD data, right, it's and these are numbers from Frontier, right? So they say you basically need a 5 meg connection if you're doing HD data, if you're watching HD. So if you're going to have Wi-Fi at your location and customers are going to be watching Facebook videos or MSNBC updates or whatever they want to watch, make sure you have a data plan, ISP data plan, etc., that's going to support those business needs. Again, HD data, 5 megs at least. For the Ultra and the 4K data, you're talking 25 megs, right? So that's what you need to look at when you're talking to your ISP, is what are their service offerings. I was mentioned to me and brought up through Conexxus, and Cara, thank you, that, you know, look at some of the business class options out there and see if those are, you know, those fit into your budget, right? But if they don't, definitely look at the higher megs. Today, a lot of us out there have 1 to 2 meg circuits coming in the store. That's not really going to support your bandwidth needs later for digital transformation, and just all of the other things coming in general, right? So IoT, where the forecourt enhancements are for EMV. I mean, I could go on. IoT proliferation will continue to increase, what I was just covering, and your network solution must be reliable and secure, right? So if you do your own, make sure you pretty much deny all and only allow the access list for your new services to come into the store, and make sure you're properly segmenting at the store to keep those devices from your payment devices, and even your back office services, etc., right? Because you don't want anything to creep into your networks. So keep them on a DMZ if able, right? Uptime is critical. So wireless backup or secondary connectivity is required. I think it's kind of like table stakes these days that if you're a petroleum operator, you need to have redundancy in your connectivity. So it's either multiple ISPs, or it's a, you know, one ISP and a wireless backup solution. You know, certainly my company does that well. We have other companies in Conexxus that also do it. So make sure you reach out to your resources and find out that you're doing all these things for technical needs, right? You've got the right bandwidth, right? You've got the right security, and you've got the right backup and resiliency to keep your services running. So the next steps to digital transformation, essentially you're going to redefine convenience, right? This is to meet consumer preference. Grocers can invest in their digital footprint with, automated kiosks to fulfill online orders. We covered that. Voice ordering through devices such as Amazon Alexa. I don't know if you guys just saw the recent, anybody on this webinar has been on LinkedIn lately or even the news. There's a cool little clip out there right now where Alexa's actually paying for gas. And you can just tell Alexa, I'm at pump 4, and Alexa lights the pump up. It's pretty cool. So if you haven't heard of that or seen that, definitely get online and check that out. Check out free shopping with app-based smart scanning, right? So I think Amazon does this. You walk into the store and they kind of know what you're buying as you're going through the store. You can scan items on the phone, and if you want to look up the items or put them in a checkout or et cetera, you can do that as well. But just look at how, depending on what you're growing at your C-store, if you went from a smokes and coke shop to a deli smokes coke and a seating area and everything, how are you supporting those with checkout? What are you guys doing there? Mobile payment via apps and services such as Apple Pay. Apple Pay is one, Samsung Pay is another. You have the bank pays that are out there now. You have some of the other third-party payment and loyalty platforms out there. So, go out there and find what you're looking for. You don't have to settle with one provider, by the way. So there's many different strategies you can apply. Deliver a seamless omni-channel experience, right? We kind of talked about that earlier. Grocers can combine the convenience and lower prices of e-commerce, with personalized in-store experiences, right? So I say grocers, but we talk about petroleum, and you guys you're selling retail beyond the fuel. And so you just really want to look at, what is that experience going to be? It's omni-channel now, right? You're selling fuel and different products and maybe food service, and maybe you're inviting some of the other big brands in there, the Dunkin' Donuts of the world, the Taco Bells, just to name a few, right? And so you're offering your customers all these different services, but how are you combining that all together so that they feel like they're in one place, right? So, and go beyond the groceries to boost the profits, right? So with margins on items hovering between 1% to 3%, the retailers must find a new revenue streams, right? So you can partner with the grocery companies to find higher margins if that's a way to do it. Partner with your local corporations and companies to find out how you can provide loyalty programs, maybe for their employees, but at your store, right? Again, you're bringing more traffic in. So creating communities and social hubs, like wine bars or growler stations, right? So I think I accidentally skipped that slide, and I apologize, but a lot of things that are going on today, right? We're coming into the roller grills with, now they're online and connected, right? You've got the coffee stations, which are also now online and connected, but there's many different flavors than there used to be. You also have the growler stations, right? That's real big in some areas. I was personally involved in some myself, so we set some stuff up in Oregon and Alaska, where we brought in kegs of beer into the stores, and we had a little area that we set up, and then there was a growler station, and so you could come in and fill up your growler, right? So now all of a sudden I've got a market that's maybe looking for the craft beer, right? And they were going to the regular bars or the big brick and mortars to buy their craft beer, but now I'm bringing them into the store with craft beer, right? And they're also making other buying decisions while they're there, right? Because they're happy now because I'm giving them the service that they want. So think about those things. So, oops, sorry. So it may feel like a race against your competitors, right? But as I alluded to there before, there really is no finish line. The needs of your customers and how they will meet you will change. Your mission is to build the capacity of your company to adapt and respond to a digital ecosystem that will continue to transform with or without you. And that's it. All right. Thanks.
Dean, thank you. That was a lot of great information. Appreciate it. And I think you hit on some awesome points today. and I kind of interrupted you halfway through talking about some of the major ones is again, to take a look at what you've got going on, how you can enhance that. And I like your suggestions. It's obvious that you've done a lot of things in the industry, not just with the things that you're doing at Cybera. So you offered a lot of great opportunities. We do ask that everybody ask questions via the GoToWebinar question panel. You can type that in, and so please feel free to do that. And no specific vendor questions.
So while we're waiting, Cara, if you don't mind, while we're waiting on some of the questions and answers, I could just add a little bit more, right? So for any of the owners or leaders out there, right, as you're planning and preparing, because your teams for a successful digital shift, right? So it's really regardless of the size and scale of your business, which we've touched on today. Digital transformation can be met with discomfort and uncertainty, right? I mean, so as a leader, you can prepare these challenges before you even start rolling out, right? So it's going to be your job and up to you to provide the vision for your organization or your business, right? You're going to need to create that learning culture, because this is all going to be new, right? So you've got some folks out in your stores industry that may not comprehend technology that well. How are you going to train them? Or are you going to have some new faces come in to start leading that charge, right? The most important thing that we need to do in digital transformation, and for me, this is the biggest one, is listen. We need to listen to what the customers are asking us for, what they're telling us they need. Because if we're just thinking that they need something and we're suggesting it to them, it may not be what they want, and your strategy fails there. The last thing I'll leave you guys with, and this is probably a good bit of information, go slow. Focus on testing small shifts in process, right? And the culture that will eventually impact the entirety of your business, okay? Proceeding cautiously will let you identify if a process that's supposed to help a customer or employee, et cetera, making their transition and strategy harder for you. So just go slow. Take your time with it. Find what you really need, what works for your business model, and I think you'll have a lot of success doing it that way. Thank you, Cara.
All right, Dean, great. Thanks for closing the webinar for us today. I think that's all. And I believe we have one more slide that is a disclaimer that we need to show.
Yep, sorry.
Great. And again, please look for the email that has the survey. Please complete the survey, and then about an hour after you complete that, you will receive a link to the presentation deck itself. And we want to thank everybody for joining us today. And Dean, thanks again for all the great information that you shared with us. We appreciate your time and your presentation as well.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, and have a good day, everybody.
Take care. Thank you.